Good morning, everyone. This is Brad Matheny. Today's the 15th of November. Happy Friday. We're looking at a downward pattern, a gap reversal pattern in trending mode, in counter trending mode. So we would be looking at potentially, as I've drawn here, a downward cycle. We are currently off by 2.43 points on the SPY, down almost a 0.5%, 0.4%. Going to put us potentially in an opening price level down in this area. And I do believe that this is going to be the bottom this week. So it looks like we get a up, down, up on the encounter trend, which would be a down, up, down on Monday. Then we get a top resistance in trend mode, then a flat down, then a harami, then a temporary bottom in a trending mode. And as you can see, I've kind of drawn this out into a consolidation pattern, indicating that we're going to get kind of this little, and I hate to keep drawing on everything, but let me get rid of this. And we'll get rid of this. And we'll get rid of this. We'll leave that for now. Get rid of that. So we're going to end up kind of potentially getting this deep low today, and then maybe rolling around into a move next week that's something a bit like that. I'll make it yellow. That's kind of my interpretation of what the markets are going to do. And this is setting up a fairly broad pattern. You can see the potential flagging here. We've broken down. We're going into a downtrend. So we have this is 1 hour, very moderate excess phase peak pattern here in blue, breaking downward, moving into that consolidation pattern. So here, as we come down into this maybe low here, we would consolidate around this area, maybe move up a little bit, and then move downward, I believe, into the deeper low. So, and this also sets up the big broader excess phase peak pattern, which rolls over here in this green level. Here's the downward pullback. Here's the flagging formation up here to this sell here area. And then we get the breakdown moving down into potentially the consolidation area over in this area. So remember, we're moving into a kind of a dual excess phase peak pattern here. And again, I'll come in here and try to make it a little more clear, but the whole idea is that we could roll in the consolidation range throughout this cycle. Now, maybe it doesn't get this high. Maybe, maybe it only gets up into this area and rolls down into this search for the ultimate low. But, I see us rolling through this flagging, consolidating down into this area. This is the 588, 589. I hope you can hear my cat in the background. She's just going nuts, whining away. But anyway, I think we're going to roll right down into this area into early portion of next week. That'll be around the 20th. Now, remember, I'm expecting the buy zone to be right around this December 10th area. So let's call this December 9th, 10th, 11th to be looking for a low back over here. And I've kind of drawn it all out. We've seen this rolling pattern that I've drawn in the blue. I'm trying to leave this blue level here. Let me get rid of, and I need to keep that. I mean, technically I can get rid of it. Let me come in here. Get rid of that and keep most of those. The buy zone here we've highlighted, the pullback we've highlighted, and this apex level we've highlighted. I'll draw a box around that. The reason why I do all this crazy drawing is to try to make this stuff visual for you. So, we have the buy zone, we have the buy hedge here, we have the excess phase peak patterns. Remember, this is the bigger pattern. I'll make this a darker color, make this a greenish blue, and make this a greenish blue. The whole point here is this, is that we are rolling through these topping anomaly setups. This is that anomaly zone I talked about, which is indicating that we're going to have some sort of potential, you know, I read it as some sort of an anomalous crisis type of event. I'm still waiting to figure out what it is. It might be bonds, it might be banking, who knows? But I think we're going to move into this catalyst that sends us back down into this 578, 580 area on the SPY, totally filling the gap, moving back into this kind of post election early crush phase. And you can see, I did a chart on this. I think it's over here. Yeah, this is it. So you can see how we've got this little island move right before the election, completely outside of the trend channel. And what I think is going to happen is I've drawn here, is we've already started our flagging. So my expectations are coming true for the most part. Get rid of this, get rid of this. So what I think is going to happen really is that we're going to move into that rally phase, coming down into flagging the next couple of days, rolling downward into consolidation, probably right above the gap, possibly getting wide range consolidation, and then break down into that low basing pattern around December 10th or 12th or 15th. So I've drawn this pretty cleanly. So here we go. We break down, we hold above the gap slightly, we break down and potentially move down into this area. Now we could hold around this area here, which is the trend channel, but you can see how this plays out. This is a gap related to the election, kind of an island move. And now, if we break out of this channel and break down, which I believe is coming next week or end of next week, then we're looking at a breakdown. And what we're looking at is a breakdown of approximately 3.5 to 4.5% on the SPY. And what we would be looking at on the QQQ, there's my cat whining away, would be the same type of setup. Okay, so we get this rally up, pull back, flagging, and the QQQ could move a bit further, could come down below the gap here, consolidate, and then move down into lower trending. And this could be essentially about a 7.5 to 8.5% gap. Hopefully, I drew it. Yeah, I drew it pretty good. That's 7.5% right there. So we could move down really down into this 470 to 480 area. And this could be a pretty good size pullback. That would again be about a 50% move roughly from this level up to here. It's actually a 618. So that's about a 618 level here. And it should be about a, yeah, 50% area from there. So that level holds up very solidly. This level right in here holds up very solidly as support for this pullback move. And really, I mean, like I said, I'm just using Fibonacci here, 618. And of course, this is beyond. So, yeah, I would say that this level holds up very, very solidly as a deep pullback for the market, given my expectations of the anomaly event. So when we come back over here, we're looking really at this buy zone around the 9th, 10th, 11th. And hopefully I drew it cleanly here around the 9th, 10th, 11th. Okay, so this has got to come over here and really this has got to move down into, oops, get rid of that, into this, there we go, 9th, 10th, 11th. So here's where we would be looking for the ultimate low pattern. This is a little off. So that's kind of how it would work timeline. Remember, we're looking at this 9th, 10th, 11th time frame. So December 9, 10, 11 plus as a basing pattern for the market. Okay, that's kind of where I'm looking at. So again, this is my expectations. I'm trying to deliver this information to help you guys figure out what's coming, but these are my expectations related to the market. So now we'll come over here, take a look at gold and silver. We have got a come back over here, I think. Yep. We have got a flat down trend and carryover in gold and silver. We're bearish. We've seen the markets move down considerably. We are trying to hold near support here around 25.50. It looks good. We're not seeing any real carryover yet back to the upside. Let me get rid of some of these recent little drawings. I'll redraw some of those. Redraw these. So where we're at again is, we've pulled, we flagged, and we broke downward. So, 5 is now down here. This level didn't really hold. We now have this level, 25.80. And what we're looking at again is we are looking at a flagging pattern setting up off of this deep low, coming back, potentially flagging like this. We've got the same kind of setup here, but we don't really have that flagging setup yet. We've got the pullback in silver. You could say we had a little flag here, just barely. This is a 4 hour, so let me come into 1 hour. This is 2 hours. Okay, so yeah, we've got a little more flagging over here. Try to keep them the same. So you can see this downward move flagging down into this channel, low, come back up, flag, and we have a breakaway. We're above the flag level. Okay. And here we have the move has yet to actually break above the flag level here in gold. But this is a pretty good sign in terms of a breakaway move. So now we would be looking for that consolidation level. And I would tell you that in silver, we have to take a look at the most recent breakdown levels. So we would have to take a look at this level, which we've drawn. We'd have to take a look over here at this level, possibly right in here. That's 32. And then, of course, we have the consolidation range back over here. So now, given where we're at, we are likely to see a kind of extended trend. If this continues to form, we're going to get a very clear move, very likely past here, which is going to possibly come up, pause, and then rally, and then come up into this area, maybe stall, and then rally, pause, and then rally further. So this gives you an idea of what may happen if this bottom holds up. Right now, we've got a pretty good bottom. Our support level should be right in this area. So that's going to put us right around 30, 30, 30, 29, 30, 28. And that would indicate that if this bottom sets up, we're going to have support roughly at gold at 25.61. If this rally continues in silver, I'll keep an eye on it today. But if it does continue in silver, try to get my candles back, then we're going to see gold do kind of the same thing. And if we take a look at gold, scrunch it on down, come back over here, we've got to keep an eye on the same types of levels. So we have this level here, which is 26.20. We have roughly this level here, 27.10. and we come back up to the consolidation range up here, 27.55. And what I would suggest is that if we get into this rally phase and we confirm it, we're likely going to probably see a rally up into this area, pausing a bit, rallying right through it, coming up into this area, maybe consolidating, and then rallying straight up further. And this is again my suggestion. It would make sense that we would run into, and I'll draw this as well because this is an area where we could see the consolidation, and that is our previous rally point here. So again, this lines with this. You can see kind of right across here. So the consolidation area is either going to be here and rally, or here and rally. And like I said, so we've got the two zones. Here's the zone or here for consolidation, and secondarily here or here. So we're looking as the next move, if this takes place and we get a breakout above this 2580, 2585 really kind of area. I'll leave it as 2580 for now. Then we're going to be looking at 2660, and we could be looking at a move all the way up into 2710. So there's your numbers for gold. And where we're at over here with silver is we have the upper range of the flag at 3070, and we have the upper range of the consolidation area at 3115 roughly, and this consolidation area will be 3220 roughly. So it gives you an idea of where we're at with the move. Now, this seems like a very tight consolidation channel. I think the move out of it would be very explosive if we stayed down in this 3115 area. But again, silver moves slightly differently than gold. And I would think that gold would make the move up to 2660 fairly easily. I think silver may struggle around this 3115, maybe into this area across here. So these are our areas. That's 3140, 3115, and like I said, so here we have, let me just put this here. So people can see, we have, and of course we have this level 2621. So those will give you some ideas of where we're at. We have this level here of 2543. That's off of this low. So this gives you an idea of the levels that we're looking for on this rally phase. We have to, of course, stay above this 2543 level. This is rather important to know that we do not want to see gold fall below that level. We really do not want to see an issue where gold collapses down below this 2543 level. For this bottom to hold and for us to get that big rally, remember, this rally is going to be, it's going to be potentially a big carryover. So look, come over here. There's our move. And for us to do what I believe will rally up to this level, which is kind of where we started, either this level here or up to this level here. We'll rally up to that level. Then we will pause, and then we will rally even further. Same thing here with silver. More than likely, we are going to see it rally up to about where we started here, pause, and then rally even further. So this is going to be a big recovery potentially. Now, again, I think it's a little early to start here. We might get a nice little rally up into the 2606, 2610 area, maybe 2620. For silver, I think we could be in the 3120, 3130, 3140 area on the beginning of this move, and then we get the big explosive move potentially next week. This would likely be also coordinated with a slowing dollar. So remember that the dollar would likely slow down in terms of its rampant rally phase right now. So we'll see how it plays out over time. But the reality is, we're looking pretty good, guys, for a nice rally here. We've got confirmation. Now, if I remember right, we've got confirmation in silver. Was it already? Yeah, silver, I think, has already confirmed the move. Let me check. Nope, it was gold that had confirmed the move. No, it was silver. Slightly above the high. Go back here. It looks like it's down a little bit. We do need to see that confirmation of getting above the high. So see how we gotten above it here? So we really do need to see that confirmation. I'm going to leave these charts up so I can keep an eye on them. So gold's got to get above this level right here, 2582. And again, this is critical right now. Need to see this happen. That green level and this green level, need to see it happen. Gotta see it move above that level and confirm in a rally mode that it's going to move higher. If it just rejects and comes back down, we could see it weaken. So we're getting a pretty good sign here in silver, but no confirmation yet here in gold. We need to see it kind of get above this level, move into this territory, and try to really move to the upside. So here we go. We're gonna looks like we're getting a pretty solid move in gold. Okay, and then lastly, Bitcoin. Bitcoin is up $2,400. Here we go. We definitely look like we're rolling. We've broken downward. Try to get this out of the way. This is a 1 hour Bitcoin chart. You see all my scribbles. Yep, these are all excess phase peak patterns. I'll get rid of all of these so you guys can pay attention to what's going on now. Remember, every single one of these excess phase peak patterns is a learning experience for you guys to be able to figure it out. Hopefully, see what's in here and what's going on. We saw the big breakaway. It rallied right up to about where I drew my peak perfectly. Kind of amazes me when I draw these things. And again, I visually see a lot of this stuff before I actually draw it. So we'll leave that. We'll leave that. We'll get rid of this and we'll draw everything all over again. So here we come into a rally phase, big rally phase. We get this pullback, flagging, and rally up out of it. Pullback, flagging, rally up out of it. Draw this in blue. Then we get this big, broad pullback here. Okay, so now new highs, new highs, new highs, new highs. Come back down here, rally back up. Do we get up to new highs? Well, technically we do, but we reject back down here to the downside. So you would have to kind of watch this level for these new highs. So do we get up? Yeah, but then we reject. Come back into this flagging pattern. This is what I highlighted. We eventually get to the point that we literally get A, B, C, D, and then an E breakout. Very clean flag. A, B, C, D, E breakout. Now we rally roughly the same distance that we have here. So, I mean, you can look at this consolidation and this rotation. So, if you measure from this point up to about this point, you're going to be able to see here that from this point to this point, roughly the same level. You can see it here, but it's almost the same level. Okay, very close. And again, that's kind of what happens with the flag. Sometimes you get these breakaways that are, you know, maybe three quarters or maybe a full 100% measured move expansion, and you can see that from these levels here, from these pullback levels, this was a full 100% expansion there. So there's your Fibonacci level. You can see it basically from this consolidation peak up to this high, down to this low. There's your 100% move right there. 1.0 comes right up to that level. Now you see how the 7.5 level came right into this level as well. Okay, so again, Fibonacci and price tell you almost everything you need to know. So now we are going to be looking at this move here. What happened up here? We come up, we rally again, pull back. This was a rally to a new high, so we're back into bullish trending. We pull back substantially, and then we move. This is a 1 hour chart. We move into this flagging formation, and now we've broken down potentially into consolidation. Now, consolidation near, by the way, right near this apex. So remember how I drew the apex over on the, I think it was the silver and the gold chart, but look, wow, there's our apexing range right there. Very important to understand that this apex is typically very strong support or resistance. Okay. So here we are, we're consolidating right around that apex zone. We're up here near these highs. We would technically have to break away from this high right here to move back into bullish trending. We are right now in bearish trending, and we would be expecting a downward move in Bitcoin based on this formation. We have our peak, number one. We have our flagging, number two. We have our breakdown to consolidation, number three. We have our looking for the breakdown over here. And that will lead us, go away, lead us to our search for the ultimate low down here. So right now we are in consolidation. We should be anticipating an attempt to the downside. That's got about a 60 or 70% chance, in my opinion, whereas the rally phase back up above it would have a smaller chance. Now, why is that? Because the pattern at this point has been successful to number three. So, I mean, ideally, I would have a greater weight to the continued success of the number four and the number five. If we had broken back up here at two, then again, I know that we're in a bullish trend. So failure, really, I kind of look at this as an early stage failure, getting back above our high, or potentially moving into a breakaway here. But this, again, would be the early stage failure. This would be second stage failure. And then this would be essentially the bottom. This is it. Once we have the bottom here, then we expect a change in trend, or potentially a continuation. But this, even if it were to come down, flag, breakdown, flag, breakdown, flag, breakdown, flag, it could do that all day long, and that would still be the ultimate low. Okay, that's just a trend continuation going down. So understand that's nothing more than, well, it hasn't found the low yet, hasn't found the low yet, all the way down. So here we go. This is kind of what we're looking at with Bitcoin. And it makes sense to me that we're probably going to want to come back down into this area, this 81, 82,000. It makes sense that we're going to want to come right down into that area, right into this block. I'll draw it as a big square so you can see it. But it makes sense that we're going to be coming down into this area. as support for our ultimate low. So I think that's kind of where Bitcoin wants to try to revert to, which will be very interesting because what it'll do is it'll essentially eliminate, almost all of this post-election rally. Not all of it, but a lot of it. If we get down into this 80 to 82,000 area, hypothetically, we have this area down here as well. So, I could draw this again. So into that area, somewhere in that range, 79 to 82,000 seems like a very logical downside move target for Bitcoin. Okay, so we've covered the SPY, we've covered the QQQs, gold and silver and Bitcoin. Remember, we're rolling into this topping pattern today. We are looking at a potential buy mode at the end of the day today or early Monday. So we're looking at a kind of a buy trigger here. Remember, we had a buy trigger back over here. We had a sell trigger up here. Then we ended up having a buy trigger over here, sell trigger over here, which was kind of a flat day. Now we're looking at our buy trigger near the end of the day today. So we're not going to be trying to buy too early. We're going to buy near theoretically. Now, these are just theoretical buy zones. Okay. The whole idea is to teach you how these patterns can help you identify future opportunities. So here we come down into this buy zone near the end of the day today. And visual order, bring to front. And then we move up here to this sell zone up over here around the 19th, end of the day, probably middle end of the day in the 19th. And what we're really looking for is, a high price level here, low price level here. So we're getting an opening price lower. We're expecting it to be a gapping reversal pattern. I would wait until the end of the day, see what happens. I wouldn't be jumping into a buy mode here. Even if you did, look, we had to buy here. Even if you did buy into the beginning of the day and took your chances, it still ended up being a pretty good rally. And if you sold here and then bought back into here, yeah, you took a little loss here. You took a little loss here, but then we caught a nice downward trend here. Now we're looking to try to catch that reversal back to the upside, selling into this mode. And then, like I said, I think we're probably going to move into that big solid breakdown. So after this level here, I think we roll into that anomaly trend downward, targeting that 580, 578 area in the SPY. Okay, so working on some new projects for everyone. Hopefully things are going to work out. I got a lot of work to do this weekend. Everybody, remember, get some. I hope you like what I'm doing. Remember, I'm not 100%. Okay, really not 100%. But when you consider what's going on here and you realize that, I drew these election patterns here. You see how I drew them down here post election, and we had this shift back up to these areas. It's so funny. It shifted right back to where I drew the levels weeks ago. And you can go back and watch this. Let's go back and look at like the October 29th or whatever video. You'll see that I drew all of these lines back here. I drew these originally, and then we had this shift. So you can see how markets shifted here. And I believe that wasn't the Kamala crush, it was something like that. But then these are just copies, guys. I just copied these down to here. So it's the same basic setup, right? Same basic lines, nothing's really changed. So I drew these, carried these into here. Then I drew these up here saying, okay, this was where we were. Remember, I was still operating off of these. And eventually it shifted downward. And I got rid of a lot of these, but I mean, I copy them down. And so remember, we had shifted downward and we had rolled down into this trend through this pre-election correction, but it still played out very cleanly. I called rally, 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 up top into here, breakdown into here, which is this area right here, rallying up into this area, forming a double topping formation here, and then breaking downward. And I did these 2 weeks in advance before market even got to here. And look at how cleanly it broke down, just like I predicted 2 weeks in advance. Now, I predicted just before the election, right over in this area, I predicted these areas down here. And I predicted that we're going to move into a sideways, anomalous type of a mode and then break down. And of course, we had this big rally. I had the buy hedge here. Big rally shifted us back right up into my original predictions. So I just copied these levels, put them right up here, and now we're playing out. Literally 2 weeks of trading of what I predicted are playing out within these ranges, up and down. Now, look, I called this top, called this rally phase after the election, called it moving up, peaking up in this area, rolling down to a low down here, coming back up to a peak up here, and then rolling back down to a low down here. Now, granted, you can argue that I'm not 100%. Go ahead. But again, I don't know anybody that can do this. I don't know anybody that can attempt to pinpoint moves and rotations in price like this as detailed as I do 2+ weeks in advance of it actually happening. So ask yourself that question and then follow me and follow along. It's very important you understand some of the techniques that I'm showing you. And again, try to understand from me how these breakaway patterns and these SPY cycle patterns actually work. It's critical, I think, that traders understand what's actually happening and try to ignore some of the what I call the crash dummies. Those guys that go out every 3 days and it's gonna crash, it's gonna crash. Yeah, maybe. It's been going straight up for 35 plus years, so maybe. There's times it'll crash, and I'll try to warn you when things look ugly. But generally, they're just pullbacks. That's all it is. Okay, guys, a little long today, but happy Friday. Go get some.